Weirdly enough, as much as I have kept up with Will Smith's acting career throughout the years, there's a few movies that pop up now and again that don't always interest me, but I end up seeing them anyway. Never in a million years would I imagine a film receiving Oscar buzz would be one of those films that didn't initially interest me. Will Smith has a kind of a touch-and-go relationship with biographical true story films. Ali, for instance, was kind of rough, but The Pursuit of Happiness was easily one of my favorite Will Smith movies ever. And thankfully, King Richard kind of reminded me a lot of The Pursuit of Happiness. Let's get cracking. Venus and Serena Williams are well known in the world of championship tennis, but how they came to be is a story that not many people know of. Told through the perspective of their father Richard, King Richard follows his unique perception and plan for his daughter's success, which often got in the way of what coaches wanted from them. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure if this is my favorite role portrayed by Will Smith or not. There's so many. What it is, however, is incredibly human. This man is perceived as everything ranging from weird, insane, overprotective, hovering to downright genius. And it's a role that you can't quite put your finger on because that's not how roles are usually shown in movies. Usually characters are what they are, but you're unsure if you should even like this man or not until later on in the film. He's from the ghetto. He has a funny way of speaking, walking, and often has an ego about him that doesn't make sense. All these coaches in this movie can see how talented Venus and Serena obviously are. And they're like, hey, let's get them into tournaments. I'll give you all this cash to do this and that. And he's simply like, nah, they're still kids. Let them be kids. There's time for tournaments later. He turns down millions like it's nothing. And the faces that people give him, it's priceless. The director of this film, Ronaldo Marcus Green, does something specifically amazing with this film. As a viewer, you already know what happens with Venus and Serena. Even if you don't follow sports at all, you know Venus and Serena are massive in the world of tennis, just as you know Michael Jordan was big in basketball. You know where they end up, yet the director makes you question it. You sit there and you watch these tournaments and you're biting your nails, wondering if they'll make it or not. That's escapism at its absolute best. Forgetting about what happened in real life and just kind of getting sucked into this world with these characters, and everybody they did a great job. I believe that these people were these people. They weren't actors, they vanished into these roles like it was nothing. Now this movie's kind of sort of long at nearly 2.5 hours, and you certainly feel that length, but it never bothers you that much because there's so much to the story that feels absolutely relevant. I initially wondered why a movie about Venus and Serena would even be about their father and not so much about them, but after watching it, it makes perfect sense, and I wouldn't have it any other way. He's a weird guy, but he had so much influence on how they got where they did, and a lot of that has to do with humility, keeping your pride in check, and just being kids before you lose that chance, but also not losing the skills that they obviously had. He's such a unique man in a lot of different ways. You kind of have to watch the movie to really understand or appreciate that. So looking at this film from a purely technical perspective, I have to give everybody a lot of credit behind the scenes. This film did a great job presenting the time period really well. Venus and Serena looked legitimately like little versions of the real girls. The writing was great. Cinematography and editing of the tennis matches looked legit. They did not look like a produced movie version. They looked like the director literally went back in time and filmed a real match. And the acting is phenomenal all around. This unbiased score is 92%. As for how I personally felt about the movie or my bias score, I don't know. I definitely had a lot of fun with this movie, and I recommend it to anybody that's really big into true story biographical films or sports films or Will Smith-led films. So my bias score is actually at 88%, meaning that when we combine those two scores together, we come to the final rating of 90%, 90 out of 100 possible stars. But what about you guys? Have you seen King Richard? And if you have, I want to hear your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. If you haven't seen it yet, are you planning to see it? Are you a Will Smith fan? As for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button, and bell to be notified when I come out with my next review. And until then, peace out.